Okay, time to turn to our last story now. And one of the hardest hit industries during this pandemic has been the airline industry. But as vaccination rates increase around the world, there's a glimmer of hope that more planes and more passengers could soon be back in the skies. Earlier this month, Qatar Airways became the first airline in the world to operate a flight where all passengers and crew were fully vaccinated. The 3-hour flight didn't actually go anywhere, though. It just returned to the same airport it took off from in Doha. So it was a bit of a PR stunt, but could it be a sign of what's to come? Will airlines and other travel companies insist on their passengers being fully vaccinated to get aboard? Well, the Australian carrier QANTAS has already said it will require all passengers and crew to be vaccinated when it eventually resumes international flights. And cruise ship companies like P&O and Saga have said the same. Well, is this the key to unlocking international travel? Let's find out with our guest travel expert, Simon Calder now. Simon, welcome back to The Nexus. What do you think about Qantas and Qatar and so on? Is this going to be a model for the future where internationally airlines and other travel companies will ask us to be vaccinated before we can get on board?
It's a little early to say, but my sense is strongly that you will get some individual enterprises, like, for example, a lot of the cruise lines that are operating in the United Kingdom this summer, who will say, yep, you have to be vaccinated fully before you step on board. You will also get individual countries, and I'm thinking here of Israel and Thailand, where they say either you're not coming in unless you've been vaccinated, or your journey will be much, much easier if you have had both jabs. And so it's going to be, I think, something which we need to watch this summer. But I think longer term, it is probably not a solution. Certainly, having talked to a number of European aviation CEOs, they basically just say it is not something that they would envisage bringing in for their staff. And if you can't guarantee that, for example, the cabin crew on a flight have been vaccinated, it's very difficult to insist that all your passengers have been.
That's right. And Australia and New Zealand, they set up a travel bubble between them. How does that work? And again, is that going to be expanded around the world?
Really good questions. So this has just come into effect between Australia and New Zealand. Actually, for about the last 6 months, New Zealanders have been able to travel to most parts of Australia, but they've needed to quarantine when they go back. What's now happened is that these two island nations, both of them having had remarkable success tackling coronavirus, or rather just keeping it out, are now saying, yep, you can indulge in whatever international travel you want, and as long as it's to the other country. And this has given people a taste of going abroad, but through so-called green channels at the airports, which of course, remember, are still handling some international flights. And people are whisked through. They have to fill in quite a lot of forms and jump through various hoops. But it does mean that you can almost relive travel as we knew it in 2019. The trouble is that, again, it's very difficult to scale up. I can envisage that you will get some Pacific Island nations who might join in the same travel bubble. And you might get the odd place such as Singapore, a city-state with its own very good record. But I cannot see it working with parts of the world, in particularly Europe, North America, where very sadly you've got very high levels of coronavirus.
And Simon, I understand European airports have been reporting their activity levels. The information's just come out. What does it reveal?
Yes, just in the past few minutes, I've been absolutely staggered by the numbers I am seeing. And in general, of course, things have not been normal since effectively, well, January, February last year. But the change in aviation in Europe is remarkable. Previously, you had London Heathrow, Paris Charles de Gaulle, Amsterdam and Frankfurt as the top four. Now, the top four are Istanbul's two airports and Moscow's main airports. It is astonishing that you've seen such a move eastwards, and certainly talking to a number of aviation experts, they say they believe this will be permanent and that Istanbul's new airport will actually become the major hub in Europe. Meanwhile, you've got oddities such as the largest, busiest airport in Europe, as used to be, London Heathrow. That's now not even in the top 10, and it's doing worse than Sochi Airport in Russia on the Black Sea. And One airport here in the UK, East Midlands, used to be really important. In March, they handled a grand total of 71 passengers. They would have all fitted on one bus.
Simon, final question for you. A bit of a difficult one because obviously it's a big world out there, lots of different people with different circumstances. But, compared to, say, 2019, should people be expecting to go abroad for their summer holiday this year?
Oh, I think there will be many, many millions of people who will be hoping to do just that, particularly in Europe, particularly heading from Northern Europe to the Mediterranean countries. And I imagine that we'll get probably something like half a normal summer. Some people will simply not want to travel because of the risk of coronavirus or the risk that they'll get stuck on the wrong side of somebody else's lockdown. But me, and I suspect millions of others, will be desperate to get an escape.
Simon Calder, thanks so much for the travel advice. Much appreciated. And thank you at home and on your phones for watching. Remember, you can see this episode or any of our previous episodes on our channel on YouTube. Just type in Nexus TRT World. Well, till next week then. Goodbye. Well, thanks for watching our program. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends and family, and even subscribe.